Hey, I thought I might give myself some PTSD by playing a game from my childhood, Iggy's Wreckin Balls.
Balls.
This was my brother's game as a kid, and to look at it, I have no idea what made him want to get it, really. I mean, it's sort of a iguana head flying through the air. That's a key indicator it's going to be a bit crap, right? Surely even an 8-year-old knows that, but then my brother is the same kid that asked for and got Rampage World Tour on the Nintendo 64, and that's utter bobbins too. Now, Iggy's Wreckin Balls...
Balls.
was developed by the same company that made Turok Dinosaur Hunter, Iguana Entertainment, and this was interestingly their first ever racing game. Prior to this game, they'd even had a pop at ripping off the success of the cute Sega mascot of Sonic with the game's era the Acrobat, and spin-off Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel. I'd never heard of that second one before writing this script, but good God, that sounds like an absolutely essential gameplay experience. A kamikaze squirrel? I just love the idea of a squirrel that has zero left to give. It's just going mental. Anyway, the reason I mention that is that most of Iguana's games aside from that were sports games. So in 1998, when Iggy's Wreckin Balls were just slammed right onto the table, it was a new venture for the company. Only problem was, it was a racing game smashed up with a 2D platformer. And as I think I will show, it didn't really work.
Obviously, the 2D Sonic games and their two-player options are an excellent example of 2D racing. But the titular character of today's game isn't Sonic, it's Iggy. Iggy is a ball, but with an iguana face.
With a little frond and veneers, apparently, and he just exists like that.
What is that under his chin? Is it a tail? Is it a goatee?
I have so many questions about where all kinds of internal organs could possibly be on this guy, which once again makes the possibility that this thing is a tail even more confusing because it suggests the existence of an arse. But where could it be?
Is it a peen? Is that a ball with a penis?
I'm thinking too hard about this and I've managed to upset myself. I even asked my brother what the hell's going on with this thing and he suggested it's a gibble, and then we had an argument. I don't know if you can see it, but I really think Iggy's facial expression on the cover art looks like he's just received good news and bad news at the same time. Like he's just been told there's a talented musician holding a gig for free in his kitchen, but that talented musician is Ed Sheeran.
So let's play with Iggy's balls, which are Reckin, apparently. Mine have been described like that. Okay, alright, that's the last ball joke. Alright, I appreciate I've probably already lost about 30% of the viewers already.
Yes, when you think of the classic racing games, you can't not think of Crash Team Racing, maybe Chocobo Racer, and of course, Mario Kart. But those games were, among other things, made great by the characters. Recognisable, cute, most of them have at least got feet. Iggy and his friends are absolutely the most forgettable video game characters ever created. In fact, the only one I didn't need reminding of was Iggy himself, who, being the title character and based on the development company's mascot, obviously had a lot more care put into his conception than any of the others. I'm not joking, I had forgotten every single one of the other characters from when I was a kid. And me and my brother played this one quite a lot. You know that thing where you get a game as a kid and you try your hardest to make yourself enjoy it because you know you're not going to get another one for a while? It's kind of like squeezing the last few drops of vodka out of a sponge. You know what I mean. And here we are at the character select screen. All the other characters are faces, or heads. Essentially what you've got here is a game about emojis way before some gross Hollywood exec decided to make a film about them. They've got some really annoying puns for their names too, like Robert, because he's a robot. So funny. Cutie, oh, because she's cute. That's really funny because she's actually a horrifying noseless face with pigtails. Chatter, because his teeth. Amanda, well, that's just stupid. Love that Croydon facelift Amanda is rocking there, which is technically a Croydon body lift because, you know, she is literally just a face. Oh wait, hang on, this one isn't a face. It's literally an eyeball. It's an eyeball that's a body. That's a face.
There is not enough weed in the world to understand this game.
The description of QT in the instructions really makes me laugh. The first thing it says is that she's a female. Ball. If a game thinks a character being female is a feature, you know you're in for a bad time. I mean, we aren't in the ridiculous area that Ms. Pac-Man was in for sexualizing a friggin' orb, but she's pink, blonde, and has massive lips. Even the other female character has big lips and mascara. How come these things even give themselves a gender? They're friggin' balls. Am I thinking about this too much again? I would go and get my medication, but Ed Sheeran is still in the kitchen and I don't want to engage with him. There is a small handful of racing track worlds, if you like. In each one is a bunch of towers, which is this game's word for racetrack. So here it is, a well-meaning attempt at 2.5D using balls. Now first up, there's only ever 4 of you playing, CPU or, if you have friends. The tracks, especially near the end up being quite big. Or, long. They're usually already empty, aside from a few power-ups and maybe the odd bit of scenery, so it's not unusual to go around a whole lap without bumping into any of the other racers, which is one big flaw, since when you do bump into the other players, it's probably the only fun part of the entire game. That's when you can use this tentacle grapple thing to grab the other racers and smack them about. Each player has a different design of this grapple. My favourite is the eyeball, since it's got a grapple made of optic nerve and that is utterly grim. Can you imagine the sound? But the main use of that grapple is to jump up onto platforms. You'll need to use it like a hook shot to get up to levels that are too high for you to jump, which is usually all of them. I mean, it really is boring, just constantly jumping up through platforms. It's even worse on the later levels when the game starts putting in parts of the track that you can't hook onto, and the race becomes just this trudge around to different parts of each platforms on a tower section just to find a part to hook to.
Remember, obviously, you're supposed to win the race, and it's fun to go fast, right? Well, constantly jumping up and jumping up isn't fast, it's boring. Plus, now and again, that tentacle thing that you're swinging about just refuses to stick on the platforms you throw it at. And when that happens, you'll just go sailing off into the ether. Take me with you!
Which brings me to this friggin' dragonfly. Why is a dragonfly associating with a bunch of balls? I have zero clue at all. But this dragonfly will come along and pick you up by your hook shot if you make a wrong move and go flying off the side of the track, which actually happens a heck of a lot. Look at this dragonfly at the start that does the countdown. He's wearing a referee shirt. What a pillock. Also, his name is Evan.
Yeah, the dragonfly's name is Evan. You're right there, Evan. It's Evan.
So here's the biggest thing that I'm getting mardy about here. Why don't these balls move like balls? All of them run along in this annoying bouncing fashion. They don't roll, like you'd expect a ball to do. What's the point in even making them balls? Just put them in a little car. Why even bother making characters balls if they don't act like balls? The only real balls here that are acting like actual balls is the balls that this game is, which is utter balls.
There's something about the movement of these balls that is really unenjoyable. When they get to do a boost, they do this roll forward, and that's really fun to watch, honestly. But the rest of the time, they're doing this dinky, hopping trudge, and it just looks really awkward. Oh, by the way, all the characters have catchphrases, just to make things a whole lot worse.
These characters do not shut up. You'll constantly hear them chattering during the race, although they do mostly just repeat the same sentence again and again. And on top of all that, Iggy himself keeps the party going in the game select screens.
Who's it gonna be? What's your game, dude? Where to?
Hey, so I know this is an American thing and I don't want to offend anyone, but does anyone ever find that whole surfer bra thing endearing? I can't think of any character in any media that had that personality and isn't deathly irritating.
What's your game, dude?
Yeah, dude, totally, brah. Shut up. Good God. Go find some red plastic cups to pollute the earth with. Well, at least Amanda sounds like she's having a nice time. The thing is, It's not the concept of this game that's the problem, it's the level design, pure and simple. You get little bits where you might loop the loop and go speeding along, and those bits are really fun, but they account for maybe 5% of each level if they appear at all. And the rest of it is just this mind-numbingly boring process of jumping, pulling yourself up, jumping, pulling yourself up, getting decked by one of the other players, jumping, pulling yourself up. Very slow and skillless. And while some of the levels are single roads, a lot of them contain 3 laps, and that's another problem because the tracks are so entirely unremarkable. You can barely tell one part of it from the other. For some of the tracks, I didn't realise that I was doing laps at all because it does look just the same.
All of the levels are really empty. It'd be a lot better if there was more of those fast, spinny, loopy things and less of those platforming bits where you're jumping up and jumping up. And you know what? I've talked to people who seem to think this is an okay game, but I mean, I really can't see it. Even capturing all this footage was giving me severe PTSD flashbacks to being a kid and trying to enjoy this monotonous balls.
And then there's the power-ups. First up, good luck finding one. I swear there's like 1 per track. They're all represented by this star in a bubble, and it will give you one of 10 power-ups. The ones that are projectiles are honestly kind of useless. And here's me getting cornered by my own bombs. Yeah, cheers mate, it's sweet, nice one. In fairness, the graphics are actually quite nice for the time. I mean the ones of the actual tracks themselves and the players, I mean. The background usually looks like vomit, but you know, colourful vomit at least. So on top of the standard arcade style racing, you get your standard time attack option, and then there's the battle mode. And you know what, the latter, to be honest, even in this clunky format, it could actually be fun if you had 3 friends to fill in the remaining player slots. But like I've said before, I don't even have 1 friend, so that's not happening. These battle levels are just awful. I mean, seriously, seriously bad. This style of 2.5D racetrack does not lend itself at all to a battle arena. There's too much space to be battling on, so half the time you can't even find the lads that you're supposed to be decking. Absolutely woeful. If these levels were much smaller, it might be a really fun grapple battle between all of you, but as it stands, you just spend half the time trying to find the other players. It's just rubbish.
So why is this game called Iggy's Wreckin Balls? Right? Where's the wrecking? Apart from on my sense of sanity, which was kind of a wreck in the first place. Did they call it that because they didn't just want to call it, you know, Iggy's Balls? Because that would have shifted some copies, let me tell you. And the thing is, no matter which way you look at it, if you make a game about balls, someone is going to make a penis joke. And that someone would apparently be me.
Well, the instruction book has the story behind the name. It's so stupid, so I won't spend too much time on it. But basically, there's a bunch of giant sacred towers, and Iggy has got his mates together and they're going to destroy the towers. For no particular reason, they just want to destroy a bunch of ancient artifacts for the lols. What a prick.
So at the end of every level, your ball, not you, gets to watch the entire level be destroyed. And it's your ball that hits the switch to do the wrecking. See? Wrecking balls. A ball that does some wrecking by balling itself onto a switch. Ball.
The enemies that you occasionally see are actually supposed to be the minions of whatever ancient power built all the race courses trying to defend them. So they're useless, clearly. I mean, why go to the effort of building a load of towers and then hiring a bunch of cute little things as the security? I mean, look at this yellow idiot here.
So while Iggy slapped his balls right on the table in Europe and America, he also did it in Japan, where presumably they don't mind that kind of thing so much. And I really need to show you the Japanese version because it's something.
Iggy-kun no Bora Bora Poyon, definitely pronounced incorrectly, is gameplay-wise the same as the Western version. It's also released only shortly after the American version, and the characters all got a bit of a makeover. An adorable, slightly creepy makeover. I'll be honest though, I way prefer the look of this cover art compared to the Western version. It's way more appealing. And Iggy doesn't have a friggin' gibble. In fact, he's really cute now.
Aw, what cute balls. Bet it's been a while since a woman said that to you, eh? Oh, sorry, let me just have that one last one because that was really funny.
Not sure what happened to Amanda, some sort of terrifying hair dye accident, I think. She looks a little bit like she's about to ask me where I learned to fly, so now I'm really on edge. Look at the mouth thing, it's got eyes now! That is horrifyingly cute. I love you, gummy monster. The look of the characters fits in better to the overall look of the entire game, in my opinion. Making them cute kind of makes you okay with the fact that they're essentially just bouncing balls. But of course, the game does suffer from all the other problems from the English language version. I'd far rather play this version than the English language version, although if you gave me the choice, I'd rather not play either of them and just sit on the sofa with a cup of tea and a piece of toast. Iggy's Wreckin Balls got fair to middling reviews, with some publications actually publishing way higher scores than it deserves. Here's the review that made my brother want the game at the time. Yep, Nintendo official magazine barely played it, or if they did they were high, because they gave this game 83%. 83%! What the bobbins is wrong with you fellas? Even if you liked the game, you wouldn't give it an 80%. I'm not joking, I really don't think they played it. In the sum up, they write, it's a bit ropey and multiplayer, but on your own is a mad bad game.
Now this is entirely false. If you play Iggy's Wreckin Balls with someone else, it might be half salvageable, especially if there's 4 of you playing. But when you play it by yourself, it's a really long, boring, monotonous slog, the kind that makes you sit back and take stock of your life. Iggy's Wreckin Balls is the kind of game where you put down the controller after playing and you're suddenly very aware of your life slipping away on the hands of a clock. And you just wasted some of your precious time on a crappy racing game that thinks it's a platformer and is shit at being either.
I still feel so betrayed years later by Nintendo magazine. They really did hype up this mediocre game. For context, they gave Smash Brothers 90%. And then this is 83, 7% less. These two games aren't even in the same league. Australia's N64 Gamer gave it 6.5 out of 10, which is way more realistic. Although I do think it's still a little generous. But this game has not aged well at all. I'm reviewing this now through the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia, and I still hate it. It's just utter balls.
Hey, I got to the end of the review and I only used a few genital jokes. Now I just need to take all the ones I didn't use to the skip. There's quite a lot of them. Maybe I'll just use them in my next few videos. Because that's what you guys subscribe for, right? Have a bauble-free day. Unless you're into that. Ed, are you thinking of leaving soon? Or are you thinking of going? Because... Ed Sheeran? Are you smashed again? Thank you very much for watching. I hope the crassness wasn't too much in that particular video. I just want to say thank you so much to all of my supporters, all of my subscribers, those of you who watch my streams, those of you who watch my videos, those of you who share them out. You keep me going on a way that I can't possibly express, and I don't just mean in the way that, you know, you keep a roof over my head. You keep me going mentally, because the Octavius character is far more than just a escape for me now. She is a huge part of me. And you guys have made that possible. So, thank you. More videos are coming. I've not been in a great place mentally recently. Please keep watching and please keep sharing the videos with your friends if you think you'd like them. Every little helps. I'm really trying hard to get as many viewers as I possibly can. Bye. Have a nice time. Do not eat too much ice cream. You guys are awesome. All right, Ed, come on. I've called you an Uber. Let's just lay down on the sofa for a bit.